Rain lashed against the cracked windshields of the van as it crawled up a forgotten mountain road. Inside were 5 people: Eli, Lara, Noah, Tessa, and Grant, a documentary crew chasing the thrill of the forbidden. Their target tonight was the Ravenholm Research Complex, an abandoned government facility sealed since 1989 after a supposed explosion and cover-up. Eli drove, eyes fixed on the GPS as the storm raged around them. Lara, the sound engineer, recorded the rhythmic patter of rain against the roof, capturing what she called authentic atmosphere. In the back, Noah adjusted his camera gear while Tessa, the medic, scrolled through the complex's old blueprints. Grant, the logistician and the only skeptic, watched the fog creep over the windshield. 5 miles to go, Eli said, gripping the wheel. After that, it's all mud and myths, Grant smirked. Great, just what the internet needs. 5 idiots dying in a haunted lab. Lara laughed nervously, the sound too thin to feel real. The van rolled to a stop in front of a rusted chain gate, half buried in weeds. A faded sign leaned to one side. Ravenholm Research Complex. Property of U.S. government. Keep out. Perfect, Eli muttered, pulling out a pair of bolt cutters. The gate screeched open, metal grinding through the storm. Beyond it lay a sea of fog and concrete, the sprawling remains of Ravenholm, a place where rumor said scientists had once experimented not on the body, but on the human mind. As the crew stepped through the gate, lightning flashed, illuminating shattered windows and corridors swallowed by moss. For a moment Lara thought she saw someone standing in one of the windows above them. When the light faded, the figure was gone. They entered the main lobby. It smelled of mildew and dust. The walls were cracked, covered in layers of peeling paint, the remains of a mural faintly visible beneath grime, a circle of people drawn around a black sun. Someone had painted over it in red spray paint. The experiment never ended. Noah filmed everything, his camera light sweeping through the gloom. Creepy cells, Eli said with a grin. This will be our best episode yet. They set up their base camp in what had once been an observation room. Cots were unrolled, batteries charged, flashlights tested. As thunder rolled outside, they reviewed maps that showed multiple underground levels. One section, sub-level 3, was marked restricted and sealed after the explosion. Rumor says they built something down there, Lara said quietly. Something that could record thought. Maybe even control it, Grant snorted. Or maybe they were just growing mushrooms. You people will believe anything. But when they began exploring the upper levels the next morning, they noticed something strange. Black growths creeping along the walls, not like fungus, but like veins. The deeper they went, the thicker they became, pulsating faintly as if alive. Fungus doesn't move, Tessa whispered. They found the elevator shaft collapsed, but beside it, a narrow staircase spiraled downward into darkness. The air grew heavier, colder with each step. When they reached the bottom, a sign was bolted to the wall. Sub-level 3, Project Silence. The corridor ahead was lined with reinforced metal doors. All were sealed except one. Room 9B stood slightly ajar. Inside was a circular chamber. At its center rested a massive metal pod, cables and wires snaking out of it like roots. Its surface was dented and burnt, covered with dark, melted handprints. Eli approached slowly, camera in hand. This must be it, he murmured. Project Silence. Tessa crouched beside a nearby console, brushing away dust. A cracked monitor flickered weakly to life, displaying a single message in dim green letters: containment failure, subject awake. Before anyone could react, The lights went out. A low hum filled the air, not mechanical, but deep and resonant like something breathing beneath the floor. Then came the sound of footsteps. "Noah?" Lara whispered, shining her light around. No answer. When her beam finally landed on him, she screamed. Tessa was standing in front of the pod, her back to them, body shaking as if suppressing laughter. "He's still here," she said softly. "He never left." "Who?" Eli asked. Tessa turned. Her eyes were pitch black. She smiled with cracked lips. "The one they woke up." Then the power surged back on. Tessa lunged. The group ran, their screams echoing through the halls. They didn't stop until they reached the main lobby. The lights flickered violently as the storm outside intensified again. Grant pushed a desk against the door, panting. "What the hell was that?" "She's gone," Eli gasped. Whatever that was, it wasn't Tessa anymore. The air grew thick with static. Lara's recorder, though turned off, emitted faint whispers, distorted and layered. Words formed between the noise. "We are awake." That night no one slept. Machines deep below the complex began to hum again, lights flickering one corridor at a time. Somewhere in the walls the intercom crackled to life. "Welcome back to Ravenholm," experiment resumed. The voice was male, calm, distorted by decades of decay. Grant found a working control room. Monitors showed grainy black and white footage of the complex during the 1980s. Scientists in lab coats running, alarms flashing, smoke-filling corridors. In one frame, a man was strapped inside the pod, screaming silently. Then the feed glitched. The next image showed live footage. The pod was now open and empty. A scraping sound came from behind the walls. Lara sobbed quietly. "We have to get out." But every exit they found looped back to the same hallway, the same mural of the black sun. Except now there were 6 figures painted around it, not 5. Noah vanished next. They heard his scream echo through the ventilation system, followed by silence. When Eli found his camera, the last recording showed Noah turning his light toward a corner, and something slowly stepping out of the wall toward him. The footage ended there. Lara's hands shook as she held her recorder. "The static isn't random," she said. "It's voices. Layers of them. I filtered it earlier. Listen." She pressed play. Beneath the hiss came hundreds of overlapping whispers. "We are awake. We are awake." Eli tried to stay rational, but fear had its claws deep in him now. Every direction looked the same. Every hallway hummed with that same low vibration. Hours passed. Grant began muttering to himself, repeating lines from the mural. "We never left. We never left." Then he smiled, eyes blank, and walked into the darkness before anyone could stop him. Lara clutched Eli's arm. "Please, let's just go, now." They ran through the collapsing corridors, the lights dying behind them. When they finally reached the main entrance, the heavy doors were rusted shut. Eli swung the crowbar with all his strength until they burst open. Cold fog poured in. They stumbled out into the night, rain soaking their clothes, lungs burning. The complex loomed behind them, silent, its windows dark again. They didn't speak for the entire drive down the mountain, but the next morning rescuers found the van abandoned on the highway. Doors open, engine still running. No one inside. 2 days later, authorities searching near the Ravenholm gate discovered a camera half buried in the mud. The footage showed Eli and Lara running into the fog. Then static. Then faintly, the same voice that had haunted the facility whispered, "Welcome back to Ravenholm." Experiment resumed. The final frame froze on Eli and Lara standing in the facility lobby again, dry, clean, and smiling into the camera. Their eyes were black,